In this short tutorial I hope to teach you how to make cybergrinder fake metal, or whatever you want to call it in FL Studio. This is a very baseline introduction, but I hope to make more of these types of videos if people enjoy them. I want to grow our community and see the projects you all come up with. Music is for everyone, and I hope this helps you and gets you started with creating. Let's begin. You can start wherever you choose. I personally almost always start with guitar, so let's start there. When you open FL it will look something like this. In order to add instruments or VSTs as they are known, you will need to add it from the channel rack. Click Add New Channel and select your guitar of choice. There are several different types of virtual guitars, but for this tutorial, I will be using a free one called Suburban Guitarist, but I will show others if you want to upgrade, because it doesn't sound great to be honest. I would highly recommend changing the settings to the ones shown here, otherwise it will sound really bad. Palm muting is especially important for metal as that is where the chug sound comes from and is going to be the real backbone of most of the stuff you will make, unless you're a coward. The second crucial part to a virtual guitar instrument is going to be the effects. In the channel rack, change the mixer routing of Suburban Guitarist to channel 1 and then add some flavor. There are some amazing free amps out there to explore and try out, so I would highly encourage you to just download every free sim you can and have fun exploring. For this tutorial I will be using the Ignite Emissary, FL Hardcore and the TS999 also from Ignite. I encourage you to play with all of the presets and settings to see what weird sounds you can make. Now that you have a guitar that sounds passable, you can begin to write a pattern. Right-click Suburban Guitarist and click Open Piano Roll. This is where 99% of your work compassing will happen. The notes go from high to low, and you can adjust the length of each note depending on taste. For this tutorial we will just be making a simple breakdown since that's the easiest thing to just go ahead and do. Here on each bar you can see I've put in a different style of pattern that are common in these kinds of music. Earlier I was saying that there are different types of guitar virtual instruments. There are really three main ways that I have seen to make palm mutes, and it is going to depend on the guitar you used. In Suburban Guitarist it is controlled through the virtual instrument display. In some guitars like RealEight or Shredded you control the palm mutes with things called key switches. These are extra notes that tell the instrument to do an effect that is assigned to the MIDI note. In other guitars like heavier 7 strings you control them with the velocity. Velocity is a control displayed in the bottom of the piano roll that controls how hard the note is played. This is my personal favorite method, and I highly recommend heavier 7 strings because it's very intuitive and sounds great. I'm gonna skip bass because to keep it real with you most of the time, I just copy the guitar pattern unless I'm making a special part of the song. It's so similar to the guitar tutorial as well that I just don't know if a separate part is necessary. Drums are quite unfortunately the most tedious but also maybe the most important part. For this tutorial the drums are going to be very straightforward, but I'm going to display how simple changes in patterns completely change the feel and vibe of your guitar parts. For the tutorial I will simply be using FPC's metal preset, but there are some really great free drum kits out there that I'll be happy to show you too. You add the drums the same way you added the guitar instrument. By adding it the channel rack you will however notice that the piano roll will look quite different for most drums than it did for your guitar. Here are 3 patterns I've quickly written that would fit with this guitar part. I didn't say 3 good patterns, but they are certainly patterns. Notice mainly how much the interaction between the kick and the snare affects the entire feel. It is entirely up to you whether you want to make your drums humanized or not. Important things to keep in mind is obviously how fast a human being can even play, and also the fact that humans only have 2 hands, so you cannot put more than 2 cymbals at once, or more than 1 snare hit and 1 cymbal for example. I'll demonstrate with my favorite free drum VST Power Drumkit, which I do highly recommend. Another level of humanization is your velocity control. A human being cannot hit the same note at the same velocity every single time. Once again this comes down to preference though, because there are genres where machine gun drums are very much in vogue. I hope that you have enjoyed this short tutorial. Remember, this is for absolute complete and total beginners who haven't created anything just yet. If there is continued interest I'll be happier to make some more tutorials for more advanced topics. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if you need, and like the video if this is something you want to make more of. I made a small 5-minute mix of what we worked on today, but included some bass and doubled the guitars. The steps between what I showed you and this song I made are not far off at all, so please get creating, get sharing, be bold and brave. I can't wait to hear what you've made.